The iMore Show is brought to you today by SoftLayer. SoftLayer delivers cloud built to perform. Your business applications and computational workloads are unique, so you deserve cloud resources that meet your specific needs. SoftLayer is one of the only cloud providers that provide dedicated servers and virtual servers, all on demand, all connected to the same open API, all connected to a global private network, allowing you to scale your workloads up and down quickly and have ample space for your storage-intensive tasks. SoftLayer is an IBM company, and IBM uses SoftLayer as its cloud infrastructure foundation. That is all you need to know. So for more information, please go to, for more information and the opportunity to get $500 of cloud infrastructure, please visit softlayer.com/podcast. Thank you, SoftLayer. It is October 19, 2015. I'm Rene Ritchie, and right now we're going to talk about Georgia's adventures with the iPhone 6s, Serenity's adventures with Siri and HomeKit, and a bunch of Mac and Magic stuff. This is the iMore Show. Joining us this week, well, I've spoiled that already, but we have, as usual, the managing editor of iMore.com, Serenity Caldwell. How are you, Ren?
I'm doing good. I'm a little cold, as evidenced by my winter wear right now.
You are all bundled up.
It is very cold in my house right now.
And that was the equally frozen voice of Georgia Dow. How are you, Georgia?
I'm a little bit sick, and I'm cold too, but I'm a little bit sick, so I apologize if I start coughing.
And Serenity, you're some sort of champion this weekend?
Yes. My home team, the Cosmonauts, won the roller derby, the Boston Roller Derby Home Championships, which is the Golden Fez Championship.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. First time in 9 years. I haven't been playing for all 9. But
so do you get like a little trophy with like roller skates on it or something?
Even better. We get a trophy with a little hat on it. Hold on. I have a great picture that I will swap for those video.
In the meantime, George and I will do a rousing rendition of "You Are the Champions, My." No, don't worry. Don't panic, Internet.
I know. We lost everyone there.
Yeah. Everybody's like, "What's going on? Why
did I tune into this show?"
Yeah. Why are people talking about roller derby? You know, because roller derby's cool, guys.
That is so adorable. Look at that. Now, what kind of a hat? There's like a hat on it.
Yeah, so it's a fez. We play each year at the Shriners Auditorium in Wilmington, Massachusetts.
Okay.
So the trophy is the Golden Fez trophy.
Very cute. I love it.
That is epic.
Yeah, so good time, and then my mother and I, who was in town, went to New York to celebrate, and I ice skated because apparently I didn't get enough skate time this weekend.
And there was ice.
Did you knock the people down when you were on the rink?
I did not. I think they frowned against that.
Yeah, it's not.
I was just wondering if it's now just in your blood.
All the time.
So we're going to start off the show because Georgia has not been able, her schedule has not been conducive to joining us for the last couple of weeks, but she has been experimenting with her own iPhone 6s Plus, and I wanted to get sort of like the Georgia report, not like the morning report from the Lion King, but like the Georgia report on the iPhone 6s Plus.
Well, unfortunately, I still have a really ugly case on it.
You don't have to use the case. I mean, you can.
You know what though? The problem
is snakes, Georgia. Toad snakes.
No,
I don't live that wild. I don't live that wild and crazy because I'm clumsy, and I find that the phone, it's really slippery. So it's beautiful without the case on. It's hideous with the case on because now I have the white front, the black back. I got some gold, rose gold coming out through.
It's like Brett the Hitman Hart. It's the pink and black attack.
Mm-hmm. It's a pink and black attack. But the phone flies. It's really quick. And I love it. I've actually decided, I turned on Hey Siri.
Oh, yes, I have questions about this for you. So if you have not joined us previously, you don't know Georgia's long and sordid history with potentially privacy concerning technology. Like, she will not use Touch ID because she doesn't want her own phone to know what her fingerprint looks like. She will not use Hey Siri. She does not want her own phone to know what her voice sounds like. She is basically, Fox Mulder thinks she's a little bit paranoid.
I'm not. It's just my feeling.
Mulder, Georgia.
No, it's just my feeling on privacy. It's just, how much do you want to give your phone access to? But I decided, okay, I'm going to jump in, and I turned on Hey Siri, and I got my fingerprint all set up for turning on my phone. And eventually, after about 2 weeks, I turned off Hey Siri. That was just only annoying and really not helpful for me. I didn't use it, and I was like, it makes me feel creeped out. And probably it's not creepy at all, but it made me feel. But the Touch ID, I love. I love Touch ID. To be able to turn on my phone. Wait, here we go. To be able to turn on my phone, and it's just...
See, you don't appreciate how fast it's become because you never lived in the dark ages of 1 second Touch ID.
No, it's wonderful, and my kids keep on trying. My kids are always trying to catch my password. Always. They're just trying to figure out what my password is. I always have to change it because they're like then sneaking onto my phone to play Plants vs. Zombies and deleting all of my plants at some point in time. So, this was wonderful because my kids are like, what's the passcode? And I'm just like, I just unlock it for them in a heartbeat and then it's over. So I love that. I don't think that I'll be turning that off, which makes me a little bit sad and a little bit happy at the same time. But I love it. It's quick and it's easy. And at some point when we get Apple Pay here in Canada, I'll be able to. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Serenity. Don't rub it in. But that will be amazing as well.
The day that it actually happens.
That if
Apple and our banks can come to an agreement whereby the transaction fees are split in an amicable fashion to all parties, federal and or Cupertino based, then we'll only have Apple Pay.
Please. And so I love that. What I haven't been using a lot is is it Force Touch or 3D Touch? Which one? Okay. The push touch thing. I haven't been using it. It's just something that I cannot get into the habit with using. And then after the fact, so after I open up an email and then have to go back to it, I'm like, I could have just 3D touched it and I didn't. It's just not part of my nature. It's something that's such muscle memory already that it's hard for me to go back. I'm going to have to probably practice a whole bunch of times to be able to use it.
Yeah, that's what I kind of feel about with 3D Touch and with also with the iOS, some of the iOS 9 shortcuts like the back button. It's really hard to just go into that without, if you've been using an iPhone for the last, 5 years, because it's so difficult to retrain your fingers because your fingers are already like, no, that's not going to work. I've got to press the home button and then I've got to double tap and then I've got to do all these things.
Yes.
What really helped me to kind of get into it is that I would just 3D touch all the links, all of them.
to everything.
Operant conditioning.
Yeah. 3D touching links and then also 3D touching the left side of the screen for the multitasking bar.
That I've used. I don't know. It's a little bit more. So they're coming to get you, Serenity. That's what. I'm a little bit more comfortable with that. And I enjoy that. I enjoy being able to go back to what I was doing beforehand. That's really fast. But I think that I'm going to have to practice using 3D Touch because because it's already muscle memory is that before I have thought about it, I've already gone out and done it before I thought, oh no, I could have done something else. So it's already happened before the fact. And then I have to go back and be like, it's going to take a whole bunch of time.
See, it's because you don't have to. That's the thing is that I had the same problem. Like I used it right away when I first got it because it was so new. Yeah. And then for a few days, I found out I was forgetting about it because you're not forced to use it. That's not a pun. Like when there's a mouse and Apple doesn't provide arrow keys on the original Mac, you're forced to use the mouse. With multi-touch, because there was no mouse and keyboard, you're forced to use multi-touch. There was nothing that forced you to use 3D Touch. So you can use it like an iPhone 6 Animal if you want to. And it's easy to do that. And I think you sort of have to train yourself. But after a while, like I see your contact picture, Georgia, in any app, I press on your avatar and it gives me all these options. So I never have to worry about calling or messaging or what app I'm in. I just press that and then I go. And it just takes off such a like it sounds silly, but this cognitive burden of having to remember the context of each app that I'm in because any app can be all apps now. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, which is lovely, but again, it's something that because I already know how to do it another way, now it's going to take up more mental energy in order to relearn something that I've already learned. It's the same reason why I will choose to use, Word instead of using Pages. It's just because I'm comfortable in one ecosystem. I know, don't judge me.
She sends me show notes, plain text show notes in Word format, Ren. It's almost abusive.
Almost.
That is abusive.
It's just because I'm used to it already, and it's even though it's a few seconds here or there that I would be shaving off, it's a lot of mental load to be able to relearn something. So I'm not yet used to it. Mm-hmm. And so everything's been working really well. My phone has the smaller of the two batteries.
Well, so hold on. Let's backtrack for a minute. So Georgia found out that she has a Samsung processor in her iPhone, and she decided to start complaining about battery life. So we took a look at her battery usage screen, and I'm outing you here. I'm outing you on the show. It was 67% Candy Crush.
But it really shouldn't be. So I had two issues. It wasn't actually because of the Samsung battery, but my battery screen would not show me when I was running down to 20%. And so every 4 or 5 days,
battery indicator was lying to you.
My battery indicator lies, and suddenly my phone just dies out. I think that my phone is trying to have a Candy Crush intervention to say probably you should get off your phone if you're using this much, but I don't appreciate it. Stop that, please. Tell me.
Did we fix it when we toggled it? Did we fix it?
So far, so good.
Yeah. So what we did is we went into her settings, turned off battery percentage, turned it back on again, reset the phone, and it seemed to start. It seemed to stop lying.
Hard reset it. So far, so good. We shall see. But it's only like every 4 or 5 days that it suddenly dies out on me, and I'm all sad panda.
While you're talking about, so I'll bring this up because there's been a few more articles that have come out since then about the Samsung versus Taiwan Semiconductor manufacturing plant chips. And it looks like now that a lot of people have looked at it, and people who actually know about semiconductors have looked at it, that the Samsung chip is smaller, and it can either run at thermal higher, longer than the TSMC chip, which I'll never pronounce properly. Or it bleeds because it's smaller. It can just radiate heat longer. So in either case, so let's say to get on the Olympic sprint team, you have to be able to run 100 meters in less than 9 seconds. If you can run them in 8.95 or 8.96, doesn't matter. You still qualify. If you're the fastest off the what do they call it? The shot, fast off the blocks, or if you're the best in the stretch, doesn't matter because you still qualified. So all these chips have to hit certain performance goals that Apple has, and if the Taiwan Semiconductor manufacturing company can actually last a little bit longer, but the Samsung company can ramp up can hold the ramp up speed longer. Neither of those things matter, and in fact, some might be better for one workload versus another, and there's just a lot of different dimensions to it.
It still makes me sad that mine isn't the one that would be best, though.
You can play Candy Crush faster for longer.
It is within the area of just natural error with various chips, but still makes me sad. It's still one of those things like when it's like you have two children and you give one child like the Lindt chocolate and you give someone else the Hershey chocolate. The child with the Hershey chocolate, if they know, is like, wait a second, what is up with that? I feel a little bit less loved.
It's like Hershey versus Cadbury. There's no Lindt here.
Okay, well, definitely that's still I would still want to be the Cadbury child.
But so if you wanted to play your Candy Crush long,
as an American, I would want to be the Hershey child. So
yeah,
really,
yeah. Hershey's dark chocolate.
So
the only Cadbury stuff we get is not good.
No, I like the eggs. The eggs, the Cadbury cream eggs.
No flaky bars. It's a horrible thing.
We don't really get the eggs. We get them in like tiny miniature form, but we don't get the actual
horrible.
Big ones.
What is wrong? I'll be sending you eggs.
So the other thing to keep in mind is that if you run, for example, Facebook, that will shred your battery far longer than any chipset will.
Well, then I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. Smarter than all of us, Georgia. Anyway, so your phone is fast. You're enjoying Touch ID. How'd you like the color?
It. I love the color. I loved my case, and now I'm going to be looking into getting a nice silicone clear case. I was thinking about just having my little tiny love handle on the back and not using the case, but my heart will be broken if I drop this phone, and you know how clumsy I am, so the chances of me dropping it are great.
I dropped mine several times when we were shooting the video in New York. I dropped it off a bench, and I dropped it, and I got looks from Serenity and Mark when I did it. But it's fine. It's held up much better than my 6 did under similar treatment.
Yeah, I don't know. I still, you know what? After I've been carrying this around with a case for a little bit, and I do have tiny scratches on the screen.
Do you? And you also have the black. Is that the black leather?
This
Apple
is the
case?
the midnight blue Apple case. Although I will say, Georgia, if you want a clear one, I know Casetify just came out with a new version of their cases.
Is it a hard clear one or a silicone soft clear one?
It's hard. So I'll show you.
I don't really love the hard cases. I have to say they are not my favorite of cases because they don't really absorb as much shock, right?
So this is the previous version. This is the 6, and it's just a hard snap-on. But the new version that they have coming out, which I haven't tested yet, has a soft bumper around the side and then still has the hard back.
Is there clear leather yet? Can we find clear leather, somebody?
Yeah. I do have some different cases that would then, like I have this one. This is like dollar store. I decorated my own. Sparkly.
Nice.
You bedazzled your iPhone case?
And I did one when I was with Megan on Tech News Tonight. I made one that was like festive. And then I did one that would be shockproof. There we go. So those would all fit. Nice. Yeah, thank you.
I think that should be your daily carry.
Yeah.
These are the new ones right here. So they have the hard back, but they have the silicone sides.
Ah, you see, I like that. I like the it's just the siding that I care about.
Yeah. So.
For those listening, Serenity showing a bevy of delightful see-through-ish cases.
Oh, well then what I was showing before was my pom-pom case that I made myself with a hot glue gun. If you are listening, you're missing out. If you're only listening, you're missing out.
You are missing. You're missing out.
I don't know how.
Is that on top of a hard case, Georgia, or is that just pom-poms?
It is pom-poms, and it's on top of a hard case.
So I guess the big question is, Georgia, you don't usually upgrade. You usually just get the S model. So this year you did upgrade, and are you happy you did? Is it worth it?
I really liked this phone. I think that the 3D Touch, which I haven't learned to use yet, and the speed and the look, I really liked it.
What about the camera?
I've used the camera, but I can't say that for me it's a noticeable difference. I like the speed in which I get to when I open up the camera that it comes to. But I don't know. I haven't shot in low light conditions or any situation where I'm really going to be able to notice it. And if the slow motion was more slow motion, I would be more excited. But
you're not a selfie person.
No, I don't take a lot of selfies.
Mostly LCs.
Everyone's shocked. No, I really don't take a lot of selfies.
You're missing out. All right. Well, I'm happy about that.
Do you take a lot of photos, Rene, with it and notice the difference between the two?
Yeah. So for a couple of reasons. One is just the amount of detail it can pull out is fantastic. And also because the iPhone camera has a fixed lens and all you have is sneaker zoom, which seems like walking forward and walking backwards to frame things, the ability to take a 12 megapixel shot and then cut it down to 6 megapixels, so to 8 megapixels or even smaller. That to me is fantastic.
It's super cool.
And Serenity, have you done a lot of your roller derby? Have you done a lot of action shots, and do you notice less motion blur with this phone versus?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it depends. I've been shooting burst mode with my action shots for a long time, and that tends to fix most of the blur. Especially with the 6S Plus, the OIS. This is the first time I've actually gotten a chance to have optical image stabilization for my photos. So I do think I've noticed a minor improvement, especially in low light conditions, though. I went ice skating at Rockefeller Center last night, and I was taking both front-facing and rear-facing photos and video, and it looked great, despite the fact that I was on ice skates for the first time in 4 years and was wobbly the entire time.
You are definitely better on ice skates than I would be.
You grew up in Canada. I dispute this fact.
You're half Canadian, Serenity. You got the balance. We're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to tell you about Red Hat. Red Hat is tried, tested, and trusted. What does it mean when every commercial bank in the Fortune 500 relies on Red Hat for enterprise software? For every department in the executive branch of the U.S. government, or every airline in the Fortune Global 500. It means that more than 90% of all the companies in the Fortune 500 understand the value supported enterprise open source software can bring to their business. If the value of open source software is a rapid innovation, freedom, and interoperability that comes with community-powered technology, then the value of Red Hat is taking responsibility for that technology, testing it, enhancing security, certifying that it will work in your data center. So what is Red Hat doing to make such a big difference? Well, it's simple. Simple but not easy. They make sure you get all the benefits of open source without the risk of doing it all yourself. No one else can make that promise, much less keep it. So visit redhat.com to see how they'll help you and your enterprise with application development, storage, and cloud computing. Red Hat, different for the sake of better technology. Thank you, Red Hat. All right, Serenity, you have embarked on this wondrous place, which I call Siri powered all the things.
Siri powered all the things. Yes, I have a HomeKit home full of HomeKit devices.
Woohoo!
It's delightful.
How's it working?
Mostly. Mostly delightful. I would say, so overall, I really like it. I think the hue lights are fantastic. I just picked up a starter set of those, and it's really nice to have a Halloween setting in my living room. We might throw a Halloween party just to bask in the Halloween lights. And we've also added a couple of the Elgato products I've been reviewing. Lutron's Cassetto Wireless was the first sort of set of HomeKit related things I picked up. Don't have a thermostat yet. I just have the Nest. I'm kind of hoping that Google develops some kind of thing for it. But overall, I'm like, okay, cool. Controlling things from my voice. This is really awesome. And setting timers so they automatically turn on and off. I don't even have to mess with them certain times. The couple downsides. One, there are too many base stations. I have too many bridges. I've got, especially when you include things like Sonos, which my Sonos bridge, I don't even technically, that's not even HomeKit, but I still need it. So I have a Sonos bridge down there. I have a Lutron bridge down there. I have a Philips bridge down there. And I'm lucky that the Elgato products are self-contained and don't need their own bridges, because otherwise I would have an Elgato bridge down there. 3 bridges plus my Airport Express plus my cable router. Like it's too many. Too many things. Too many things.
Too many controllers. So I had the Hue lights before, and they came with the non-HomeKit hub. That always sort of bothered me because it's not secure. And I know many people just refuse to install them because they were basically like opening up your network to a potential threat. So I was super happy. I couldn't get the replacement bridge. They're all going to offer a replacement bridge, but I'm impatient. So I just ordered a starter kit as well, and it arrived. And it helps you. We put up an article on it, but it helps you migrate your lights over to the new bridge. And now I can sit here. And, apologies for people who are running older versions of iOS plugged in right now, but hey, Siri, turn the lights purple. I'm covering the thing. I apologize. Hey, Siri, turn the lights purple.
What is your father's name?
See, this is, well, I'll get to that problem in a minute. Oh, poor Siri. Oh, poor Siri.
Yeah. Hey, Siri,
turn the lights purple.
Office lights to blue.
I don't see anything connected, but I can once you've set something up.
Hilariously, it triggered on four different networks.
Hey Siri, turn the lights purple. This is the worst demo ever. Hey Siri, turn the lights purple.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Could you restate that?
Oh, so, she's just being difficult.
So this is another downside to HomeKit, which is to say that when it works, it's really awesome, and it does work most of the time. But it seems to be occasionally slow or just not work at all.
Turn the lights purple.
The lights that I have back there are my...
Purple, coming right up.
There you go.
There we go.
There we go. Now I'm all purple.
Yeah.
See, by 3 times, now I'm talking trash to Siri.
Siri, dim the lights 50%. Dim the lights 50%.
Oh, I saw it.
I set each of the lights between 0 and 50.
There we go. So you can do all that sort of thing. Hey Siri, turn the lights white. Well, that's not pressing the button. That's the home. Hey Siri, turn the lights white.
Direct sunlight was as close as I could get.
There we go.
Hey Siri, emergency alert.
One possibility is emergency alert systems in College Street in Reno. I'm having some trouble enabling your emergency alerts.
So many Jarvises.
So sad. Yes. So I have two devices set up to Hey Siri right now. I've got a 6S and a 6S Plus. The problem is the 6S is not connected to my HomeKit account, and that's another thing. So you need in order for HomeKit to work via Siri, you need your Apple ID connected to your HomeKit home, which is your giant container home. And when you set up your first accessory, you get to add your first HomeKit home, and you can name it anything you want. I've named mine Pitties. And you add subsequent accessories in that container home. That home is controlled by your Apple ID, and you can give guest access, which is not management access, just access to accessories, by adding other people's Apple IDs under sort of the guest access pane in settings. And
so I could go to Rene's house if he sets me up, and then I could change his lights to, jaundice yellow if I wished.
Hey Siri, make the lights green.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Yeah, but the main issue right now is that HomeKit is still fickle, and not as rock solid as it could be. It has potential because when it works so great. I have a scene called Emergency Alert, which is really cool. It turns all of the lights to.
Well, I haven't done
red.
scenes yet.
Yeah, scenes are really fun. The best way to coordinate, you can I believe set them up in the Elgato app, but my favorite way to set it up is with the third-party Home app. It's $15, but it's totally worth it if you have more than one HomeKit accessory. But yeah, so you can set up multiple people for your HomeKit home, and you can revoke their access at any time as the manager of that account. And you can even set up multiple HomeKit houses if you want to, say, manage your home, and then you also have like a summer house or a summer apartment that has HomeKit accessories. You can set up a secondary home for that.
Here's mine. So I have way too many Hue lights.
Way too many Hue lamps.
But
wow.
I have them. So I have 2 in the bedroom, 2 in the bathroom, 1 in the hall, 3 in the kitchen, 5 in the studio. But it's nice because it does work more often than this. It doesn't work all the time, and it is frustrating when it doesn't work. But I think right now this is just performance anxiety. Hey Siri, turn the lights green. See, I get nothing. But in general, it's nice because I was across the room and I was just walking. I went, hey Siri, turn the lights on in the bedroom, and it worked. And it was really awesome. And then I just walked out and I said, turn the lights off, and it did. And it was the future. But now I feel like it's punking me. Hey Siri, turn the lights green.
Your wish is my command.
See, and now it works. I had to give it a minute.
Yeah.
What do you think, Georgia? You look like reservations.
I would, when it works, I'll be all on board. But the levels of frustration, it takes less time for me to just press the button. And I have all of my Hue lights set. So I have my Game of Thrones setting. I have my, I'm watching The Walking Dead. I have the setting. And so I just tap down and I press a button. And that's fine for me just because I don't like the frustration of having to talk to Siri more than once because I now have an antagonistic relationship with, for me, it's Jarvis. But, I get upset. So right. I don't mind. I know that it will at one point be working really seamlessly. But right now, if one of my kids are talking, like rarely am I even in an environment where there's quiet. I have children. It's always loud. There's always a disruption. And now I'm trying to talk over my kids, or I do the little tiny, like the Siri hover thing. So like hopefully Siri will only hear me.
It's nice how you didn't blame your husband either. Yeah. That was very classic of you.
Thank you.
Georgia. So I actually don't use Siri on the phone to trigger my HomeKit stuff. I use this guy. Because the watch now supports it. And
I didn't even think of that. That's terrible.
That is much easier.
Even on my watch, though, I will use the app. I wonder if that would be,
Hey Siri, turn the lights blue.
Because I do find that my watch usually understands me, which makes no sense at all. But I find that the watch understands better.
Well, it understands better
because I hold it closer to my mouth.
You're holding it closer, and the microphone is much more directed, so that it does that specific stuff. Yeah, I just realized I may have inadvertently destroyed my HomeKit home because I was doing HomeKit testing this morning. I was like, why is nothing working? And then I opened up my Home app, and it's like, you have no homes installed.
Oh, no.
That would probably
You're going to have to go back. How long is the installation? How long does it take to get everything installed for each piece?
Each minutes.
Yeah, each separate HomeKit accessory is probably a 1 to 2 minute setup experience.
Okay.
Because you just have to scan the HomeKit accessory code and then go from there.
Perfect.
And so I've been doing them as I've been getting them. To reset everything up from scratch is probably a half hour, I would guess.
It took me to transfer the hub. What you do is you plug both hubs in. Then it tells you to press the button on the old hub and then press it on the new hub, and then disconnect the old, wipe the old hub, just disconnect it, and then you're good to go. And it just takes about 5 minutes to transfer all your lights over. And then the Home app just had all the lights, but they were assigned to Home. So it took me about 2 minutes to assign each light to the proper room.
With the green lights, Rene, you're getting a very Star Trek feeling. You're very peachy colored. Siri's not going to let you now. She's keeping you on Star Trek.
Like, I want you to look
Star Trek red.
Hey Siri, turn the lights red. This just isn't working for me today. Siri's on vacation, dude.
Sorry.
Siri's just there to punk you today.
So that's the downside about HomeKit is that sometimes it just decides to give up. Sometimes it works perfectly.
Right.
Some scenes work without. I can say crash the compound, and that works perfectly. And I can say emergency alert, and that works perfectly. I can say simulation complete, and it changes all my lights back to white from whatever crazy coloration I had.
That's awesome.
I even have a "This is Halloween" scene, so I can actually sing "This is Halloween" into the phone, and then it turns it green. It turns it orange and red, which is fantastic.
Thanks to George, I look like I'm on Mustafar now.
Now you look like the green alien on Star Trek. Be careful, you're lucky Kirk isn't around.
Beware, beware.
All right, so I mean, it is new stuff, but I do like the direction that it's going. Some people have said that when you use the Hey Siri trigger, the vocal recognition isn't as good as when you physically enact it, and I haven't had time to test that or not. But it is something that, like, I'll say, turn the lights on, and it'll say turn left on or turn lights sun, and I don't know if it's just the way that I speak or if there is something going on with the voice parsing, but it's server side, so that's the sort of thing that they can improve all the time, constantly. So I'm just gonna file my radars and cross my fingers.
Yeah, and
I love the fact that I can't spoof your voice, Rene, even though I try really hard to.
Yeah, some people were saying that, and it's not meant for security. It's not meant to be my voice is my passport, authorize me. It doesn't have that level of granularity. But we tested with like 4 phones and I think 6 people overall, and the only thing that could spoof it was a recording. So it's fairly good. And there were some people who were worried. There was some FUD going around about Siri being Siri and Google now being a security problem, because people with radio transmitters were trying to trigger them. If you were wearing headphones, they could use your headphone as an antenna and trigger it from 6 feet away using a backpack-sized transmitter and 16 feet away using a van-sized transmitter. But Siri has these audio, like when you tell Siri to do something, it'll go bing, bing, and then tell you what it's doing. So unless you just sit there going, oh, that's cool that Siri is doing stuff on its own, and anything that like they said that you could use it to send malware or to send phishing emails, and if you try to launch an app, Siri makes you do Touch ID or put in your password. But even so, the thought of trying to dictate a phishing URL either into Safari or into an email, Siri, go to ap11e.c0, I mean, like, it's never going to render that. Like, that is an impossibility. So I think it's perfectly secure enough, and I'm pretty paranoid about that kind of stuff.
Well, the wonderful thing is that you're going to say, hey, Siri, and you're not going to activate, 6 of your friends' phones at the same time to do exactly what you wanted. So that's the nice part of having it just your voice. You don't have to worry if you're like in an auditorium that you're going to have, 18 people really angry at you.
Well, it was like CES a couple of years ago, and there was the press room, and someone jumped in because everyone was wearing Google Glass, and they jumped in and went, "Okay, Google, now," and they yelled out the part of a body part, which you would probably imagine that they yelled out, and then all these Google appliances started showing pictures of these body parts, and that's just like that. This is the nascent days of this technology, and all sorts of funny things are going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're willing to kind of deal with a little bit of the bugs and you want sort of the Siri home experience, this is a rough approximation. I'm not going to say HomeKit is a perfect, HomeKit accessories are perfect products right now, because they're not.
They're first gen.
Yeah, it's definitely a beta product right now. There are too many hubs. There's too many hubs.
Too many hubs.
Yeah, too many hubs if you want multiple products from multiple vendors. Again, Siri has some problems now and then, but when you integrate it with like the Home app, for example, it's just really cool to be able to, again, do automatic triggers and automatic settings, and that goes for any home automation automation software. That's not necessarily just HomeKit. I happen to like HomeKit because the Siri stuff is an added bonus, and the security is much better than, say, the Wink ecosystem or SmartThings ecosystem. But it's still, climbing up there.
Yeah, and the other thing is with the hubs, the problem that you're mentioning, like I have this now, is that I don't have enough Ethernet ports to plug all these hubs into, so I had to like unplug a couple things to plug them in, and that's not going to scale, and I'm going to eventually have to get like a enterprise class switch to my house just to put all these things on Ethernet, and that's something that I believe universal hubs need to replace at some point.
It's Hubapalooza.
Or just make it like the reason that It's good for me right now that Hue has a hub because it means I don't have to buy all new lights because the lights are slave to the hub. So it's just one new hub. If I had to buy 20 new lights, I would not be that happy. Buying one new hub wasn't a big deal. But eventually all these things could be independent the way Serenity said Elgato was, and then you won't need to have those hubs anymore. The future.
Yeah.
The future is crazy.
All right, we're going to take one more break. I'm going to tell you about lynda.com, the online learning platform with over 3,000 on-demand video courses to help you strengthen your business, technology, and creative skills. For a free 10-day trial, visit lynda.com/imore. That's lynda.com/imore. So what is lynda.com? It is for problem solvers, for the curious, people who want to make things happen. Maybe you want to master Excel, learn negotiation tactics, build a website, boost your Photoshop skills. Go to lynda.com and feed your curious mind. Lynda.com, they've been around forever. If you've wanted to learn how to edit a podcast in Logic or Audition, if you want to learn how to edit video in Premiere or Final Cut Pro, if you want to learn how to use the new iMovie, if you want to learn how to use the new Office, they just almost anything you can imagine. They have quite literally the best people in the world there to teach it to you. They stream thousands of video courses on demand. You can learn at your own schedule, your own pace. The courses are structured so you can watch them from start to finish or consume them in bite-sized pieces. You can browse each course transcript and follow along or search for answers. I love that. I don't want to often watch a whole video because I'm, Gen X, I have no attention span, so I just want to see the answer, and it gives it to me. It's fantastic. You can download tutorials and watch them on the go, include access to and you can also watch them on your iPhone, your iPad, your Android device, create playlists. The list, literally, the features go on and on and on, and I'm going to keep saying literally throughout this entire sponsor read. Try to stop me. Your lynda.com membership will give you unlimited access to training on hundreds of topics, all for one flat rate. Whether you're looking to become an industry expert, you're passionate about a hobby, or you just want to learn something new, I want you to go to lynda.com/imore and sign up for your free 10-day trial. That's lynda.com/imore. It's one of the best things you can do for yourself. Literally one of the best things. All right, so I was going to talk about the magic stuff next, but Serenity was sporting a new watch band that I wanted to ask about.
Oh, a new watch band. Technically, it is part of a new watch, but I don't like the watch casing, so I just took the watch band. So this is the Hermès Double Tour. I paired it right now with the gold Apple Watch Sport, which I'm also looking at. I'm going to wear the Hermès with the proper watch in a little bit for the actual review. But while I get used to this band, I'm like, I want to wear the watch that I'm actually comfortable wearing.
So what do you think about it? Is 2 tours too many, or is 2 tours like perfect?
I'm undecided. So on one hand, like I think it's a cool sort of fashion option. It's very different than my traditional modern buckle that I've been wearing a long time. It's a nice addition to the design, but I think for me, as somebody who doesn't care whether I'm wearing an Hermès or an Amazon Basics, I would kind of hold out for the cheap knockoff version of this.
And that's the tawny color, right?
Yeah, this is the tawny color. You know what? I will say it's an impeccably crafted band. And for people who have the money to spend in that price range, which I believe this is $1,300 with tax, for people who have the money and want something a little bit more upscale, I wore it in New York yesterday and felt very chic. It's a cool band. My main problem with it, honestly, is that I think this is designed to be worn on this side more. The strap is supposed to go closer on here, and whenever I do that, it interferes with both of these buttons, which for me makes it a little bit harder to control. It does, in my opinion, it looks slightly better from a fashion perspective. I'll swap this over this way.
It looks like Amazon watchwear to me.
It's a crazy band to put on. It really is. And they have you have these dual.
It's like Artemis's watch band.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like it's very cool.
Or Diana Thymuskyra.
Yeah, it's very cool. The leather is amazing. You know, from a fashion perspective, this is an amazing watch band. From a Serenity Caldwell perspective, as cool as this looks, I don't necessarily know if functionally it's what I want as a watch band. But I love, like, the leather is beautiful. It's hand.
Hey Siri, set my lights to orange.
It goes really, the band itself is just, it hooks.
Hey Siri, set my lights to orange.
Just press the button, Rene.
Siri is still cranky.
Uh,
Yeah, but I mean, it looks very good with both the steel watch. I really like it with the gold because I feel like the steel, the Apple Watch collection watch is a little bit too heavy. But the steel watch is still very beautiful, and that we've got the steel casing.
Which then it matches the clasp, the latch on the side.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Has a custom Hermes logo on the back, as well as a custom serial number, which is very cool. And it has a custom watch face as well, although I can't show that without charging it first. So it's, I mean, yeah, I am mixed on the Hermes. I think that from an Apple perspective, this is a great product for them to have. It's sort of a midline high fashion item for folks who want something a little bit classy and that doesn't just look like, oh, I'm wearing a smartwatch on my wrist, which I think, the Apple Watch can look a little smartwatchy if it's just paired with a sport band.
I have mine with the leather loop right now. Hold on, let me see if I can switch to that.
Show it from the side, Rene.
The rose gold one with the midnight
that's really nice.
loop.
Yeah, so I think the double tour, I really like the back clasp of the double tour, actually. Mm-hmm. I love how it crisscrosses like that. The front of it, I think it just doesn't fit my wrist the way that it's meant to.
Yeah, it's because it's not really flat. It has a little bit of a curvature to it, which is not
up.
Well, because you're doubling the tour.
Yeah, if it was actually, so if I pulled it down and made it a little bit more flat, maybe it would be my wrists are really small, so it just doesn't quite fit the way that I would like it to. Again, not saying that it's not a great watch band, because it really is. It feels very light on my wrist. It breathes really nicely. Like the modern buckle, it doesn't feel like I'm wearing heavy, sweaty leather at all. And the stitching is beautiful.
Sweaty leather.
Oh, you probably had worn horrible leather bands.
I'm wearing a leather one now. I don't know if I've got sweaty leather though. Leather. But I get what you mean.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that this is a great entry point for people who want a mid-level Apple Watch. But for those who really don't care about the Hermes name, I would just get a modern buckle and a color of your choice, honestly, in my opinion. And I'm still having some time with the watch. The new Hermes watch face is really cool. I wish that I could.
You're going to review it, though?
I am going to review it, yes.
Awesome.
I'll give. That was my sort of initial weekend thoughts.
The hot take.
Yeah, the hot take of hanging out with this watch for the last 2 days. This is how I feel.
Awesome. So we have also, Serenity did order a 21.5-inch iMac, which she's going to also review when that arrives. I don't think it's gotten there yet.
No, it's coming this week.
It would be behind her right away, so we would be able to see it.
In all of its retina glory.
In all of its glory.
See its retina glory.
Make everyone drool.
But we did get our hands on the new Magic accessories. So there is the Magic keyboard. There is the Magic Trackpad 2, as you might say.
I like the look to that.
And there is the new Magic mouse. So I've gotten the review up for the Magic keyboard, so I'll start with that. I really like it. I like it more than I thought I would. The old keyboard had the cylinder design for the batteries and then the plane on it. This one is a complete wedge. I'm holding it up for people just listening in. It's got the lightning connector at the back so you can charge it while using it, but you only have to charge it once a month, so it's not a big deal. But they've got a new mechanism for the keys. It's not the butterfly mechanism of the new MacBook because that was required to be super thin. This one doesn't have to be super thin. So it's an updated version of the scissor mechanism that are in the MacBooks Pro. And Apple says it's 66% more stable, and I don't know about the mathematics of it, but it feels really stable. It feels, again, like the keys aren't wobbling anymore. And once you get used to that and you go back, it's all loosey-goosey, so you start to appreciate it. So one of those keyboards where, if you like the Apple keyboard 2, or if you like an IBM Selectric, you won't like these really low profile keys, but I like the new MacBook, and the more I type on this, the more I'm liking it as well. It is $99, which is kind of expensive for a small keyboard, and it is smaller, even with full-size function keys. It's smaller than the previous gen Apple wireless keyboard, but I'm really enjoying typing on it. I do wish it had black keys like the MacBooks and that they were backlit like the MacBooks.
Right.
My guess is that the battery doesn't last. It's not powerful enough to do backlighting yet.
Yeah, yet.
Yes, yeah,
Maybe
that'd be the
next
operative
year.
word. Next year or yeah, in a couple of
How
years.
quiet is it, Rene?
It's fairly. I'll type on it now.
That's the one thing. That's the one thing that I find that I would really like. I love backlit. First of all, I think that you're absolutely right. That makes a huge difference. But also the little tiny clicking sound. So if we're doing podcasts, if you're in a meeting, if you're in, wherever you want it to be really silent. If other people are watching a movie and you want to type away at the same time, I hate the thought of having to type quietly. I want my fingers to be able to go to town and there's silence.
It's not a virtual keyboard. Like for that, you like an iPhone or an iPad keyboard where there's actually no keys are totally quiet.
Keys.
Yeah, so this
I like keys, but I want something that's not going to.
Yes,
thank you.
So this is like the new MacBook. It's similar in sound to the new MacBook. So if you're pounding away on it, like you're a touch typist and you're pounding away on it, you'll hear a little click, 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 click. But like when I type on it, pound, pack, whatever my approximation of that is, you don't hear very much at all. So I quite like it. Again, $99, it might not be worth it to you. If you have the previous one, like for me, the rechargeability is great because I had rechargeable batteries, the Apple rechargeable batteries, but it was still like the podcast is coming. Do I have time to recharge them? Is it going to run out halfway through the podcast? This is stress I no longer need in my life because there's a lightning cable here that I already use to charge iOS devices if I need to. I plug it right in, and it lasts over a month. So it's great. And the trackpad is the same. It lasts over a month. Now, the trackpad, it went from being silver to being white this generation. And I don't know if I like that. I like the silver aluminum look of the previous one. And this just feels like it's going to get dirty to me.
And it doesn't match. It doesn't match your iMac. Why not do that?
You're right.
So it matches the keys now on the keyboard.
No. I think the getting dirty, like that you're going to have to, I would feel like, you don't want to have the smudge marks of your fingers that have been on there and you're going to have to constantly clean it.
Yeah, and so I would prefer if this had stayed aluminum or was actually black to match the keys on my fictitious Apple Magic Keyboard that would match the MacBook keyboard. But it works great, and this can be utterly silent. I didn't realize this, but both on the new MacBook keyboard, because this was surfaced in OS X El Capitan, they fake the click sound because they fake the click. Like this is like the MacBook. If you turn this off, there's a switch on the back, and if you turn it off, it feels like a solid piece of metal. Like I know Georgia will probably sit there with a hammer and a sonic measuring spoon, but you can't press anything. You turn it on and it feels like you're clicking it again. And they actually make a little click noise to make you think that, like to make you hear your ears match what you're seeing. Yeah. And you can turn that off now in El Capitan, so it can be even quieter if you want to click your mouse, surreptitiously while you're watching a movie. So I'm liking the Force Touch stuff on the trackpad. It's still called Force Touch on the Mac more now because I'm using it on iOS and I'm remembering that, like in Messages right now, I can just click right on Georgia's face and all her the pictures that she sent just pop right up. It's awesome, and you can click on a URL and you can get a preview of that. You can click on maps, and it's really a quick way of navigating and browsing. It's $129, so even more expensive. But I'm not a fan of mice, so for me, having this on my Mac, it just means I have a consistent experience, especially with this keyboard between all my devices, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah.
The Magic Mouse is not much different. You charge it at the bottom, so you cannot use it while you're charging it. But if you didn't do that, you would have to have a permanent orifice in the front of the mouse, which you'd feel every time you used it, and you would just stare at all the time. Like,
what about having a permanent orifice on the back of the mouse?
You'd have an awkward cable coming up behind you, and it would look.
But then you could
look even ruder, Georgia.
It would, but you'd be able to use it and charge it at the same time.
It takes like 2 minutes to charge it for 9 hours. So like for me, I'll just put it on at night and then I won't worry about it. It's better than, because I'm the kind of person who if I feel something, I'll be picking at it with my finger the entire, like if I felt a little divot there where the lightning cable goes, my finger would just always be on that little divot and I would feel it. And I would not be able to not notice it.
It's going to attract dust like crazy too. I don't know. I am not heartbroken over the fact that there's a charging port in the bottom of the mouse. For one thing, I don't use the mice, so I'm kind of like...
Yeah, that's what... Yeah. Do any of you use a mice? Do you use a mouse, Rene?
No, I like I said, this might as well not exist for me. I like a consistent experience, and because I have trackpads on my Mac, I want a trackpad on my desk.
This is the only mouse I use, and I use it for Heroes of the Storm, and that's about it.
Right, just for gaming. I hear you.
Exactly. It's like if I'm going to have a mouse, it needs to have enough buttons to do crazy gaming stuff.
Right.
Patterns. Otherwise, but no, honestly,
not even for art.
No, definitely not for art. I have a tablet for that.
Yeah.
No, I see why people still enjoy mice, and I see why Apple still has the Magic Mouse in their category. Right now, I feel like it's a little bit hogtied. where the Magic Mouse still doesn't have Force Touch. It's basically the exact same version as the previous model, except now it doesn't have batteries. It just charges via lightning, or it has lithium-ion batteries built in. I'm not super thrilled. Like, even if I were a mouse user, I wouldn't be super thrilled about, oh yes, I'm going to upgrade to this version of the Magic Mouse, because it's really not that exciting.
Yeah, and
for me, I always will flip the mouse over, not know which side. Like, I don't know.
It's got an Apple logo on it. But it's gesture. But it's not a gaming mouse, and that's the only reason I would probably ever use a mouse. So yeah. I'm kind of nonplussed about it. It's fine. It's good. It comes with my Mac.
I wouldn't use a mouse either. I will hook it up to a controller instead if I game.
Gamepad?
Pardon me?
A gamepad?
Yeah, I'll actually use like my Xbox controllers and hook it up to my computer and then work it that way instead.
But they the one thing that is brilliant is they pair they can pair over Bluetooth to an iPhone, an iPad, an Apple TV, and you get like all the keyboard shortcuts. And iOS 9 is really good about, like, you hold down a modifier key, it'll show you all the keyboard shortcuts. You can Command Tab on an iPad the same way you can on a Mac. But on the Mac, you just plug them into Lightning once and they're automatically paired, which is fantastic. You don't have to do any Bluetooth chicanery at all. So as easy as that is, it's even easier on the Mac. And the Bluetooth now, there's no pin codes, there's nothing. You just go to Bluetooth, you see the mouse, you click on it, and you're paired. And the security person in me is like, I'm only ever going to do that the minute I turn it on and when I'm by myself, so no one can hijack it. But once it's locked, and you can switch it without having to unlock it, but then you can't go back. You have to relock it to the new device every time. So I think it's a really good mix of, as long as you do that initial pairing quickly and when you're sure that you're the only one pairing with it, and you'll know because it tells you on the screen. It's super convenient. It's just the most convenient, magical stuff, literally, that Apple has put out. So I'm super happy with it. Except for the mouse. Sorry, mouse. I'm not a mouse
fan. Talk to us if you use a mouse. I would love to know.
I've never liked Apple. Even when I liked the mouse on the Lisa and the Mac because they were novelties. They were new. And they had the one button, and I was just the first one that ever used a mouse, and it was super cool. But from the hockey puck to the Mighty Mouse to the Magic Mouse, I just never liked Apple mice. I just don't. No one can be good at everything. That's fine.
They're not good at mice.
No.
Many things, not small rodents, not good.
No. Yeah.
No, I hate it. I actually would get really frustrated with the round hockey puck. And where's the cursor going? Why is it going in the wrong direction? Aaron Sorkin should have
spent less time on Lisa and more time on that mouse. Aaron Sorkin.
Oh, Aaron Sorkin.
All right. So, Serenity, you were on the talk show this week?
Yes, I was. John Gruber and I had a very nice chat about the mice and the other Magic accessories, as well as the new iMacs, the Steve Jobs movie, a preemptive kind of year in review, because we kind of know what Apple's roadmap is going to be for the rest of this year, and we've already seen what they've released beginning of this year. Some dithering about radio plays. Just it was all in all a really, really good chat. Very long. I apologize to people who start listening being like, oh yeah, talk show, hour and a half, right? And I think we went to 2 hours 45.
I don't think that's abnormally long for the talk show.
No, not abnormally long. It's long for my podcast. My general podcast tenure is usually about an hour.
Takes John a good hour and 15 minutes to warm up.
It's true. We warmed up on the iMacs, and then we got into it with the mice.
And as you mentioned, the incomparable radio theater is back on the air.
It is. Yes, it is. I'm really pumped about this. Episode 5 is coming out this week. We're working on episodes 6 and 7 right now. We are going to have a 12-episode first season, and both Rene and Georgia have cameoed. Georgia was actually in the ad read last week, which was adorable.
Thank you.
She was so much better than Guy. She was in the Canadian episode. She was just such a better actress than Guy, and we were both very depressed about it.
I'm just really Canadian.
So where can people find that, Ren?
They can find it at theincomparable.com/radio, and also on the iTunes store. It's available under the Incomparable Master Feed, but we also have an Incomparable Radio Theater podcast, which we can link in the show notes as well. It's a lot of fun to do. I direct it. Jason Snell produces and edits it. David J. Lohr is our writer, and we have a ton of people in the show, including pretty notable guest stars from various places in the Mac community.
I love how you were smart enough not to make Jason try to direct Guy, because that did not go well for anybody.
Yeah, that was the one episode where I can't remember if I was on a derby trip or something, and I could not be there.
Guy was so angry. It was amazing.
I could not direct the Canadian episode. Oh, it's all right. I'll make it up.
No, you were super smart. You got to dodge Guy anytime you can.
I love how it sounds when you hear it with all the sound effects. It sounds just really, really cool.
Yeah.
And if people want to find you on the internet, Ren, where can they go?
They can go to SETTERN Saturn on Twitter and Instagram, as well as on iMore.com.
Awesome. And Georgia, you've been on 19 podcasts in the last week or something. I lost count.
Yes. Yes. I've been on, I did the Fitcast. I did Twit. We did Vector with Anna Maria DeMars, Ron Russi's mom, which was so cool.
You're just saying Ron Russi's mom, but let me just preempt you here for a second, Georgia. I'm gonna let you finish. But she is one of the first women who won the World Judo Championships. She's got a PhD in educational psychology.
Yes.
She's CEO of a gaming company, 7th generation.
Yes.
And she has 4 children, all of which have won various levels of acclaim, including, I think, her second or third daughter, who happens to be UFC women's champion.
Yes.
Probably the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
And she still coaches judo. She's also a teacher. She teaches statistics at university. She's really, really cool. Like, I think I was a little bit overexcited about having her on. But she's really cool. She has a great way about her. She's just straight up the way she is. She has some amazing stories, and it was a lot of fun and great ideas for training and women in the workforce and a lot of different things. So she was
really cool. Is she said that as busy as she is, she spends over an hour driving to spend 1 hour donating her time to teaching at a school. He said people complain about schools all the time, but all you have to do is volunteer to make a difference.
Yes. And she does games that help teach kids about math through like role-playing games, which is a wonderful idea too.
With Native American culture involved.
That's so cool.
Yeah, she is extraordinary.
Yeah, she is really pretty amazing. I did a Total Party Kill Vector. I did the Bukaraba Fitness podcast, and I am forgetting the others. Isometric, of course, and Isometric.
Awesome. If people want to find you on the internet, Georgia, where can they go?
Well, if you are looking, we did a new video on sleep. So if you're having problems getting the sleep that you should, or you're not sleeping enough hours, we just released a new video on how to sleep better with sleep training techniques and reasonings why. So that's at anxiety-videos.com. And we also have session 2, managing your anxiety. And online, you can find me at Twitter. It's at Georgia_Dow.
Awesome. And because this is podcast season, and because Serenity and I survived September crazy release season, I got a bunch of other shows going again. So like Georgia said, Vector is back. There's a missing episode of Review that's back with Matt Drance, Don Melton, Guy English, and myself talking about Back to the Future. That's actually from last year, but disappeared somehow, and we found it again.
And now it's back.
And Debug started again, and we had Eric Devens, who was previously at Netscape and Palm and is currently at Fitbit. And coming up this week, we have Michael Lopp, previously running the Apple Store for Apple, and now Chief Technology Officer at Pinterest. So super interesting. So lots of stuff to listen to this week. Should be fun.
Very fun.
You can find me at Rene Ritchie. You can find all of us at iMore. You can find this show on iTunes, the audio version. If you want the video version, you can go to youtube.com/iMore video. I want to thank everybody for listening. You are all awesome. And we will be back with iMac reviews and Trackpad reviews and Doubletour reviews and more. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Georgia. Thank you, Ren.
Thanks. You, guys.
And I also want to thank lynda.com, the online learning platform, over 3,000 on-demand video courses to help you strengthen your business, technology, and creative skills. For a free 10-day trial, visit lynda.com/imore. That's lynda.com/imore. Thank you, Lynda. Bye, everybody.